I'd like to start by welcoming everyone for coming today. I am extremely gratified to see you all here. I'm going to start out by thanking all of the people that are connected to the school and that I need to thank, some of whom are not in the room. But I'm going to start with our president, Brendan Dugan, our provost, Dr. Timothy Houlihan, our dean of students, Michelle Hirsch, Rob Oliva and his amazing staff for helping always pull things together here, Joe Acharito, who's on that staff, who's amazing, Rich Relkin, Judy Ricciardo, my trusty assistant, Daniel Bass, Akeem Nelson, one of the students who's going to be you're going to be meeting today, who is going to be introducing, and I have a new student named Amanda, and Amanda, I apologize for not being able to pronounce your last name at the moment, so you can let everybody know when you come up here. I also want to thank Sandra Thomas. Sandra, where are you? Sandra Thomas, who is the Vice President of Community Affairs at WABC, who has taken over 30 interns at WABC from the Young Journalists in Training Program, and who also just completed a race for the City Council where she did not lose but came in second. I'd also like to thank Josh Schneps. Josh, you want to raise your hand? Josh Schneps owns the Home Reporter with his mom, and over the last year, our students published 150 articles in his newspaper. They have been published, and we are very grateful. And also Helen Klein, who's not here, but Helen works with Josh. She's the editor and amazing. I also want to thank Cheryl Wills, who has been a mentor to the students for the 10 years that we've run the program. And I would like to begin by thanking our honorees for coming, our MCs, honored guests, and my third grade teacher, Grace Cohen, who's here, who's putting her head down like she doesn't want to be recognized. You can raise your hand. And I'd like to start by asking my mother to come to the podium, who is married to my fantastic father, who's no longer with us, to just give us a few words of introduction.
I want to thank each of you for being here to honor this wonderful day that couldn't have happened without my daughter, Andrea, who, and I'll be brief, that her political life began when she was 18 months old. And where did that happen? In the candy store where my husband and I had candy, and she used to sell it at 18 months of age. So just history. And at 7, she was on picket lines fighting for jobs for older people, and she has never stopped working for us. Her picketing took place in below 7 degrees when she was 7. Every Saturday she was there. At 12 she was part of registration drives, and as she got older she became a filmmaker and won an Emmy. And 10 years ago she founded the Young Journalists in Training Program, and she lives with a tradition of service, and children now are benefiting from the life that she has lived. And thank you for honoring her and supporting her. And I pray that 10 years from now, the audience will be absolutely overflowing, and there will be hundreds of children that will have been helped because of Andrea and the Young Journalists in Training Program. And thank you for coming.
I also would like to acknowledge Jelani Mashariki, my friend and almost my son, but he also participated in the run for the City Council, and I'm looking forward to him running again soon for something else. Whatever he chooses. I'm not putting any candidates in place where they don't want to be. Okay, this year we celebrate our 10th anniversary. The people that we chose to honor today have directly or indirectly supported YJIT and my journey in serving the youth that I've served over the last 42 years. I have relationships with Eric Adams and Scott Stringer that go back more than 20 years. And we have now Ralph McDaniels has entered the room. The theme for this event is family reunion. I want to introduce my old family to my new family. I will introduce you to the next generation of responsible, fair, balanced journalists who have integrity. In the course of the past year alone, YJIT students had over 150 articles published in Brooklyn's #1 newspaper, The Home Reporter. I want to introduce you to these wonderful people. YJIT is dedicated to the legacy of Andy Cooper. It is important to remember that he played a major role in shaping Black politics in America. And what we see today, including the Obama presidency, can be directly linked to his contribution. My dad's landmark court case, Cooper versus Power, produced Shirley Chisholm as the first Black representative from Bed-Stuy and the first Black Congresswoman in history. Bed-Stuy had been carved into 6 congressional districts represented by white men. And one of the things that we had an issue with was infrastructure. When we needed help for something, we had no place to go. So one of the things that I remember that we would go weeks and weeks and weeks without being shoveled out when it would snow. So that if you lived in Bed-Stuy and your car was parked on the street, you could not get your car out for 2 or 3 weeks because nobody would come through to, take away the snow. So what happened was that my dad took the United States government to court. He was the lead plaintiff on this case. And what they did was battle it out in court for 10 years, and he eventually won, creating the district that Shirley Chisholm became the Congresswoman of. He then went on to be the publisher and the founder of the City Sun newspaper, whose motto was speaking truth to power. Speaking truth to power is the centerpiece of the class that I created in honor of my dad, and you are going to meet them right now. Ms. McCray, thank you for being with us. In less than 1 week, all of our honorees will make history, each in their own way. Before they take that step, I want you to meet the young journalists who are going to be, those people will be members of the press corps and people that you can count on to be fair and balanced journalists. So right now, I'd like to ask the class of 2013-14 to please come to the stage. They're going to introduce themselves to you. They're going to tell you their names. Remember their names because you will see them again and you will hear them again. So they're going to tell you their name, the year that they're in school, their year in school, and what their goal is.
Hello. My name is Akeem Nelson. I'm a junior here at St. Francis College, and my goal is to become a sports journalist. My name is Amina Djukanovic, and I'm currently a sophomore at St. Francis College, and my goal is to become a sports broadcaster.
Hi, my name is Jacqueline Battaglia. I am a sophomore here at St. Francis College, and my major is communications with the concentrations of public relations and advertising. My goal is to work at a public relations corporation.
Good afternoon. My name is Amanda Zaragoza, and I am a junior here at St. Francis, currently studying broadcast journalism. I hope to become a very important public figure, as well as a well-known broadcast journalist. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Marian Nemo. I'm a sophomore here at St. Francis College. My major is communications with a concentration in English, and my mission is to reach out to children in need, ease suffering, and to encourage them to stay focused, to help them make their dreams a reality, and inspire them to stand up for what they believe in.
I have two students that I'd like to introduce you to who are alumni, Shonda Renard and Travis Joseph.
Hello everyone, my name is Shonda Renard. I'm a senior here at St. Francis College and an alumni of the Young Journalists in Training program. And I'm here to speak a speech. I started to write this as a speech, but I realized I could express myself more clearly if I wrote it in the form of a letter to Professor Andrews. So I'm going to read you the letter. Dear Professor Andrews, the moment I spoke to you on the phone that summer of 2012, I knew you would have a great impact on my life. I entered your class in the fall, and though we only met once a week for 2 hours, in those 2 hours I gained so much. You not only mentored and provided us with the various tools and skills needed to build a career in journalism and achieve our goals, but you gave us lessons in life. It was that experience, including my internship at the Home Reporter News, Brooklyn's #1 newspaper, where I now have 10 published articles, that allowed me to return this past summer to take your 5-day intensive internship boot camp. But something occurred this summer that didn't in the fall. I had an epiphany and total transformation. I realized that I wasn't confident, and you helped me become more confident. I realized the importance of being excellent, and that everything you taught us wasn't for you, but for us. Prior to taking the boot camp, I was unsure of the career I wanted to pursue. But on the first day of my second internship with Ralph McDaniel, also known as Uncle Ralph of Video Music Box, which has been running for 30 years on WNYC, I was given the opportunity to be on camera, an on-camera reporter, and host the show. It was that experience that changed my life. So I want to thank you. I know I was a student that drove you insane, but you never gave up on me. You saw the potential in me that I didn't see in myself. And because of you, I am now a young woman aware of who she is, a young woman with a clear view of her future and mission in life, a young woman who now has the confidence and skills needed to graduate and start her career. God has blessed me with not only an amazing mentor, but now adopted mother and best friend. Professor Andrews, I love you, and as you always say, I'm stuck with you for the rest of my life. That's it.
All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Okay, my name is Travis Joseph, and I am a graduating senior and an alumni of the Young Journalists in Training program founded by Mr. Andrew W. Cooper. So I actually met Miss Andrews in the spring of 2009 when I was in my second semester of my freshman year. So at the time, I was a communications major, and being younger and I guess precocious and curious, I wanted to be a part of anything that was going on the campus. So I joined the program not realizing that I was going to end up earning the right to be mentored by somebody that has gone on to inspire me and obviously all of you, and for the right reasons. So since the time I've been in the Young Journalists in Training program, I've actually switched my major and gone on to education. But I switched on to do that also because of what I experienced when I was with Miss Andrews. Miss Andrews has stuck with me all through my years of college. I'm proud to be graduating, and I'm going on to graduate school at Columbia University because not only of the hard work that I've put in, but to the standard that Miss Andrews has held me and so all of her students when she sees the ability that we have within ourselves, even before we really grow to acknowledge it. You know, so I'm proud that this program has gone on to reach 10 years. I know it's going to reach 10 more years, and there's going to be more than twice the amount of people that's in here right now able to say that they are products of this program. Even just sitting there right now and hearing that Mr. Andrew W. Cooper was able to produce a Shirley Chisholm. That just lets me know that I'm going to be a great Travis Joseph. And that comes from being a part of this training program. So I thank you all. I thank Ms. Andrews, and like she just said, I'm stuck with you for life, as I know you're stuck with me. Thank you.
Hello again. Okay. Dr. Jeff was born in Manhattan, New York, and he's one of the first black students to attend St. Francis Xavier Catholic Academy School in Brooklyn. He then attended Brooklyn Tech. He gained his Bachelor's of Arts degree in psychology from the University of Rochester. He continued his education at George Washington University, where he received his master's degree in psychology and philosophy. Dr. Jeff is a frequent contributor to the media, and he has appeared on Fox News, the NBC's Today Show, VH1's Love and Hip Hop, CBS, and ABC News. Our other MC is Ralph McDaniels, or often referred to as Uncle Ralph. He grew up here in Brooklyn and Queens. He attended New York Institute of Technology, where he studied communications with a concentration in TV and film. And he is seen as a hip-hop culture pioneer. He created the TV show Video Music Box. Video Music Box is the first music show that was focused extensively to an urban market that is broadcasted on television. He is the president of Uncle Ralph Productions, and he is one of the executive producers of The Bridge, a show which he also co-hosts.
Hello again. Jacqueline McMickens. She holds a master's degree in public administration and bachelor's degree in criminal justice from John Jay College of Criminal Justice. She also began her legal career as an associate with Boyd, Staton, and Cave, the first all-female African-American law firm in New York State. She is the founder of Jacqueline McMickens and Associates, professional limited liability company. Prior to her legal career, Ms. McMickens had served in a number of positions in both public and private sectors. From 1987 to 1990, she was the vice chairwoman of New York City Housing Authority. In that position, she was responsible for maintenance and construction of public housing for 400,000 New Yorkers. In 1984, Mayor Edward Koch named Ms. McMickens Commissioner of Department of Corrections, making her the first correction officer in the United States to become a commissioner of a major correctional agency. Thank you.
Chirlane McCray. She was born in Springfield, Massachusetts, enrolled at Wellesley College in 1972. In 1991, Ms. McCray entered politics and began working as a speechwriter for the New York City Mayor, David Dinkins. She also worked as a speechwriter for the New York Comptroller, Carl McCall, and Bill Thompson. She worked for New York Foreign Press as a press center as a public affairs specialist for the Clinton administration. She met Mr. de Blasio in 1991 and married him in 1994. And this year alone, she helped us with his mayoral campaign by editing his speeches and interviewing candidates for staff positions. Now on to Mr. Bill de Blasio, who is our current New York City public advocate. He was born in Manhattan, New York, and raised in Cambridge, Massachusetts. Attended New York University, where he received his Bachelor of Arts degree, and then received his Master of International Affairs degree from Columbia University's School of International and Public Relations. Mr. de Blasio was introduced in politics in 1989, where he served as a volunteer coordinator during the mayoral campaign of David Dinkins. Following the campaign, he served as an aide in City Hall. In 1997, he was appointed to serve as regional director of the United States Department of Housing and Urban Development for New York and New Jersey under the administration of President Bill Clinton. In 2001, he ran for the New York City Council 39th District, where he was reelected twice. In November 2008, Mr. de Blasio announced his candidacy for the New York City Public Advocate. A year later, he won the election by defeating Republican Bill Zablocki, 78% to 18%. In January 2013, Mr. de Blasio announced his candidacy for mayor of New York City. On September 10, 2013, he won 42% of the votes, which secured him the spot of Democratic candidate for mayor.
We have not had a first lady in Gracie Mansion for quite some time, and there have been no children in that house. So I am delighted that you will be, well, Eric Adams taught me not to do premature celebrations. But I'm looking forward to you being there. And I want you to know that I was very moved to tears actually, by your daughter's introduction of her dad at the primaries, because she said about her father what I say about my father every day, which is that we were both taught, if you want something, get it, period. That's it. So with that, I'd like to introduce Ms. Jackie McMickens, who will present you with the award.
It gives me great honor to award to our potential First Lady the Andrew W. Cooper Young Journalist and Training Program Award for your endearing commitment to speaking truth to power. We salute you, as well as we do the Public Advocate Bill de Blasio, and we are so excited that you're here today and so excited that you support Andrea and Andrew. And I also would not take this opportunity that it would not be possible if it were not for her mother. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that introduction.
Well, they want a picture.
Oh, okay. Yes, must do the photo.
I think we're supposed to do this. Yes. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. And thank you so much, Jackie and Andrea. I am delighted to be here. I know that Sean worked hard to get me here. I know that the rest of the team also worked hard, but when I read that letter that you wrote, I was moved. I was actually almost moved to tears because, I used to read The Sun and lived in Fort Greene and Flatbush and knew quite a lot about, what was going on in the neighborhoods and the issues that were covered in that paper. And your letter was just so beautiful, and that's the real reason why I'm here. So it is an honor to be here speaking, accepting the Speaking to Truth to Power Award on behalf of my husband, Bill de Blasio. Bill and I have been running around campaigning all over the city, and we have 6 more days to go. Again, when I heard about this event and what Andrea was doing, I just had to be here. I think there really is nothing more important than inspiring and acknowledging our young people and making sure they have a voice in what's going on in the city. Andrea, what a terrific daughter and leader and mentor you are. Your father had to be so proud of you and would be even more proud of you today. I came to New York in 1977, and it wasn't too long after that when the son was born in '84. And I was so excited, not only because of the issues it covered, but because of the way it spoke truth to power, and because it was good journalism. The Sun was a reliable source of information. It covered issues, people, and geography overlooked in the other papers. And the journalists did their research. They checked their facts, offered new angles. It was a voice of the people. And Bill and I both mourned the day that paper was no longer in circulation. We have some huge problems in our city, many of which Bill has addressed in his platform. We need to stop the abuse of stop and frisk. We need pre-K for our children so they can get an early start in their education. There's not enough affordable housing. We've got to stop our hospitals from closing. And that, that's just a few. In 6 days, we have an election. And if the people choose Bill de Blasio, it'll be the first time that we've had a progressive in office in 20 years. 20 years. It's a very, very long time. And it's a big deal for many reasons. It's a big deal, first of all, because in those 20 years, we haven't had young people, in and around government the way we used to, so that they could learn the ropes, and so they could, go up the steps in terms of their experience and become leaders in government. We need that. You can't have senior officials in government if they haven't worked their way up. And we've had 20 years without people of color, women. We just have not had government that really looks like New York for a long, long time. And it'll be the first time we have a mayor who's got a child in the public schools. That's huge. And I want you to know that I hope that all of you will be partners in the effort to turn things around. Journalists are not just here to be critical, they're also here to educate, because people have to know what's happening. They have to know that it's important to be politically involved. They have to know who their city council person is, their state senator, their borough president. They have to know all of these things and know their rights and responsibilities, or the mayor can't do his or her job properly. And we need you. We need you to do that. So I am so pleased to be here again. I know a little bit about speaking truth to power. I am a writer. I got my start in high school. But I have to say, I bow down to you, Andrea Cooper. This is amazing what you've done to inspire a whole new generation of journalists. And I'm just so pleased that this program bears your father's name, because he was such an important civil rights leader and activist. And on behalf of Bill and our family and our entire campaign, thank you for this award, all of you. I exhort all of you to be fearless, and yes, we will take interns.
Yay! Thank you so much. Love you.
Scott Stringer attended John Jay College for Criminal Justice. From 1992 to 2005, served 13 years and 6 terms in the State Assembly of the 67th District. He won the Democratic primary against 9 other candidates and won the November general election and took office January 1st, 2006. Made Manhattan Community Board reform his first priority. He did this by implementing a merit-based application system, removing patronage and corruption from the appointment process. Since his reform inception, there were 400 new members in the Manhattan boards, with the number of African and Asian Americans raising 40% and Latinos by 25%. Though he was considered a strong candidate for the 2013 mayoral campaign, Stringer announced in 2012 that he would not run for mayor of New York City, but in fact, he would run for comptroller. He defeated former Governor Eliot Spitzer in the September 10th primary with 52% of votes.
My father taught me a lot of things, but the first thing he taught me about an elected official is this. He said, if you vote for somebody and they win, you go see them the next day with a list and tell them what you want them to do. So that's what happened with Scott and me. I went to vote, and I had taken in one of those little cards with his picture on it. It was when you were running for, was Assembly? Was that the first one? Okay. And I came, do you remember this? I came outside, nobody was in the street, and I saw this guy. I said, oh my God, it's Scott Stringer. So I said, Scott Stringer, you're Scott? He said, yes, I'm Scott Stringer. I said, I just voted for you, and you're going to win. And then I asked him his birthday. Everybody knows I asked your birthday. He and I have the same birthday. So I said, oh, you're definitely going to win. But he won, and I went to see him. And I came to him with a problem. Do you remember what it was? The bus passes? I came to him, my kids, this was during the time that kids' bus passes ended, or train and bus passes ended at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. They couldn't go to after-school programs. I would have to pay for my kids to go home every day after school so they wouldn't get arrested. And when I went to see him, I said, Scott, there's a problem. We need to extend the time of day for the bus passes. I don't know how long it took, but it seemed like it was a very short period of time, and Scott fixed it for me. So what I'm going to say is this, that I love Scott Stringer. He was my neighbor. He was my representative on the Upper West Side. He fought for us. He took care of us. I love Scott Stringer. Here he goes.
So it all comes full circle, Laurie. Listen, I am so honored to receive this award, and also to receive it with some really amazing leaders. I mean, Chirlane McCray, I can say that she's going to be a great First Lady of the City of New York, right? No doubt, no doubt. And Eric Adams is going to be a great borough president in this Brooklyn town, right? And I am so impressed with Laurie Cumbo, right? I mean, we've got the city council cannot be in better shape. And, well, last time I was thinking of not running for mayor, people said, well, he's running for controller because, it'll be an easy thing, right? Eric Adams called me up and said, smart move. You got this, I'm with you. It was all going so well. And then you know the story. But we did prevail. And I want to thank everybody in Brooklyn, because we carried Brooklyn, and it meant a lot to me to do that. But today is really about Andrew Cooper, young journalist in training. And I just want to say, Andrea, you have been a mentor for children and a fighter for children since I've known you, which I hate to admit, even though we share the same birthdays, it's been over 20 years.
Yes.
And you have always been somebody who's been a visionary. And when you think about young people engaging in politics today and journalism, it's very much interconnected. And journalism, like the world, is changing so fast. And I wonder what your dad would have thought as a trailblazer if, rather than wait for the paper to be published, the moment he found outrage, he could just hit that Twitter button. Yes. What he would have done, right? And part of what we've got to do is train the next generation, kids from all different backgrounds, to understand that journalism is freedom. It always has been. It's been civil rights. It's ended the war in Vietnam. It impeached a president and it held elected officials accountable. It exposed our weaknesses, but at times also spoke about our strengths. And it is important that young people become part of this journalistic political process. If you're interested in journalism, as I was in high school, you're going to become a civic-minded individual. You're going to end up voting at an earlier age. You're going to end up thinking about the larger issues, international, national, and city. Younger people who can name their assembly member is a younger person who's probably going to be involved in their local community, building up neighborhoods and getting involved in so many different things. So journalism, I've always felt, for young people is the gateway to so many things in life, so many ways to articulate and talk about yourself and become part of society. I'm 53 years old now, so Twitter and all this stuff I'm still getting used to it. But I have a social media advisor now, and I'm trying to get with it. But I have a and even I know what that is. I'm modern. So I'm 53. I have an AARP card. I have a well, Andrew, you know this. We share the same birthday, and I have a 22-month-old son, Max. And that's right, and a 5-month-old named Miles. I know, it's kind of cool. Come on, don't be like that. Come on, let it go. And the way he's going, the way those boys are going to see the world, journalistically, is so different, and we have to teach them that, because they already see videos on iPads and iPhones, and the way they're going to get their information is so different politically, journalistically, and I think that's exciting. Change has to happen. So I just want to say thank you, Andrea, for this award. It means a great deal on behalf of what your father accomplished and what you accomplished. You are very much the daughter of your father, because truth be told, when you came to my office, you weren't all nice and calm and whatever. It was like, deal with my kid, fix it, do it now, or you're out of here. So I will accept this award. Thank you very much.
Laurie Cumbo, born and raised in Brooklyn, New York, graduated from Brooklyn Tech High School, and then left to attend Spelman College in Atlanta. Ms. Cumbo has dedicated her life to community development and preserving the elements of diversity, because that is what makes Brooklyn. At age 22, she created a business plan for Brooklyn's first museum of contemporary African arts. opens on Church Avenue and Stuyvesant Avenue. Ms. Cumbo is dedicated to making sure that underprivileged communities receive the same type of programming and education as the thriving neighborhoods in New York City. In 2006, Ms. Cumbo raised $550,000 to relocate the museum and provide it with more educational activities, exhibits, and after-school programs. Ms. Cumbo.
My name is Ralph McDaniels. Good afternoon. And, you know, it's interesting. You know, I know Laurie from the neighborhood, you know, the girl growing up, the little girl growing up, watching me on television. And when she decided to take this political journey a little less than a year ago, I said to her, I said, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And she was like, "I guess so." And she did an excellent job. And now she's our elected, you know, person that's getting ready to, the new generation of folks that are getting ready to come into office that we were talking about earlier. And so we just needed to start a little spark with Laurie. And she said, "Ralph, can you announce that I'm going to be running?" And I said, "Sure, I can." And she was smart because she knows a lot of people know who I am. You know, and I went out and I, you know, made the announcement on Fulton Street in the community in Brooklyn, and we brought a lot of folks that are part of the arts and the culture, which is folks that I represent with, and these young people will be part of soon and be involved with. And so when Laurie stepped up, I said, "There's a place for young people, and there's a place for the arts in our community, because we are the people that create these incredible ideas, and we're creative and we have incredible ideas, but Laurie can take my idea that's this wide and make it into this and make it make sense." And that's what she'll do as a political officer. So I'm proud to be here to announce this, especially in the spirit of Andy Cooper, and I give you Laurie Cumbo. Thank you.
I had so much to say, and then you sprung Ralph McDaniels on me. So this was really, as Ralph said, I grew up watching Video Music Box, and every time I hear his voice, it brings me back to 4 o'clock running home to make sure that I could see Video Music Box. And for so many young people, that was really what, I guess ultimately you could say, it kept us off the street. It kept us engaged. It kept us intrigued with something in terms of this hip hop movement that was growing and developing that we felt so very much a part of. And so to see you working with the journalists here, this is really such a phenomenal opportunity. And I want to say, when I was at Spelman College, it was always the students that would come to these types of programs and that were involved and were not just in school for the sake of being school, but that we're here to absorb every single educational opportunity, are really the ones that excel and go on to do really dynamic and incredible things. So I really want all of the students that are here today to give yourselves a round of applause, because you are doing phenomenal work. And what I love is that you're not afraid to say what you want and what you want to do. And there's something very powerful about putting that out there and saying what you want and claiming it. And not only putting it out there, claiming it, but living it and doing it. And I grew up really at a time when that was so very encouraged, and also the voice of the people. And so when I was growing up, the City Sun was certainly that newspaper. It was that voice, along with many other publications. Growing up and watching Like It Is, it was an opportunity for there to be conscious thought and conscious mind that permeated our television, our newspapers, our radio. This was really a very incredible opportunity. And so utilizing social media and information and new technology systems is going to be so very important to keep that voice of consciousness, of progressiveness moving forward. And so I really salute all of you. This is an incredible opportunity, and Andrea, you were just so dynamic. It was just great meeting you, and I see when she puts that stamp of approval on you and she kind of finds that energy out of you, it manifests and it becomes real. So she's been manifesting and prophesizing some things for me that I too am quite not ready for yet. We'll just let all those things come in due time, because I'm really most concerned as the next city council member to realizing the goals and the vision that I set forth in this platform. I'm less concerned about my professional aspirations or goals, but more so making sure that so many of the things that Bill de Blasio spoke of are true and that they can become true. And so today, I actually have to leave early today. I wanted to stay for the whole program, but at 1 o'clock at City Hall, we are going to be announcing a rules reform platform that's going to be talking about how do we better manage this $70 billion budget. Because what we're seeing is that so many communities are overserved and so many are underserved. And that's creating symptoms of poverty, and the repercussions of that have everything to do with our schools closing, with gun violence in our communities, with our hospitals closing, with rampant development, with people being pushed out of the community, with food pantries receiving less food and the lines growing longer. These are symptoms of poverty that we're seeing that have everything to do with how we distribute resources. And today, over 30 members of the City Council are coming out to make sure that in the future government that we have policies in place to make sure that those resources are distributed equitably so that we can all benefit from the prosperity of New York City. And I'm very proud to be a part of that. I had an opportunity to run for this city council seat with what became a very good friend of mine, which is ironic when you're running, right? Mr. Jelani Mashariki was an incredible colleague in this process, and we ran a campaign, right? We ran a campaign that really brought out so many ideas to the forefront. So I'd like to accept this award with him if you would come up with me. You know, the whole time you're on the campaign trail, you're spending a lot of time talking about ideas, you're talking about ways to strengthen, you're talking about strategy, you're talking about what's going to happen. And he was really a great friend, and I'm proud that by the way that we ran this campaign together, that we came out stronger, more united, and our communities are going to be better for it. So Jelani, if you would like to say a few words as well. I'm taking a little liberties, okay? All right, thank you.
I'd just like to say thank you, Laurie, first and foremost. And I look forward to you representing us as the people's city council person. Just that the city sun has been very prevalent in my life, in my father's life, in my uncle's life, in the movement of people power in this city. And just want to thank Mr. Andrews, and I don't want to take up any more time. And Laurie, you're funny. That's all I got to say. Last but not least, the future is bright. The future is bright. And we have leaders that are preparing us for the future, and we need to, in turn, prepare the youth. So thank you, Laurie. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
We have State Senator Eric Adams, who was raised in Brooklyn. And like Professor Andrews just said, he went to Brooklyn Tech. He also attended John Jay College of Criminal Justice, where he earned his, then he went to Marist College, where he earned his master's degree. He served 22 years in the New York City Police Department, and he was known for his tireless dedication to the people and the communities he served. In 1995, he co-founded the 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care. The mission was to challenge racism, sexism, and any other isms that deterred the growth of the global community. He wanted to also economically empower people and help uplift people through the value of education. He became the senator of the 20th Senatorial District, overseeing areas such as Borough Park, Crown Heights, Flatbush, Sunset Park, and Prospect Heights. Now he is running for Brooklyn Borough President, and he probably will be elected in November.
I want to just tell you something off the top here, that there's a story that I tell all the time. And I tell the story, and my mother is here to verify it, because it's an extraordinary story. But Eric, I'm going to tell you that there's a part of this story that I've never told you, and so I'm going to tell you today. The story that I've told over 1,000 times is that, you know, when you are first and you're a person who has courage, and you are fearless, and you step out there. Sometimes people try to murder you. And my father was under death threats frequently because he said things that people did not like, and he was not afraid to say them. In a very serious situation in the early 90s, my father had a very serious death threat. Somebody actually came to kill him. Eric, who was not in a position of power in the police department, put 24-hour guard around my father and saved his life. It was done. It was done without fanfare. It was done without press. The only people that knew were the family and Eric and the people that he brought into the mix. Eric, what you do not know is that when we did the 40th anniversary of Cooper versus Power, which, by the way, 2017 is the 50th anniversary of Cooper v. Power, and we're going to make it a big party, a big deal. But what you did not know, Eric, and I said this at the 40th, that my father died without feeling loved. Most of the people who benefited from what my father did never said thank you, never said thank you. And he felt that, he experienced that. What you don't know is that you validated him on a very profound level, that you showed him the love that you had for him, and you demonstrated that by saving his life. So that on another level, you gave him life. You gave him encouragement, and you gave him love. And it was something that was very painful for him to have laid his life down for all of these people who never said thank you. So you gave him the ultimate thank you, and I thank you. I am going to turn this over to Dr. Jeff Gardier, who is also friends with Eric Adams, and we will present this last award.
All right. Just a little bit more about Eric. What you may know is Eric has been a very good political pundit. He's been out there on all of the TV shows, the radio news shows. He's an outspoken critic against police brutality, which is really a very amazing thing, given that he was a police officer for so many years, so gives much more credibility for that. He has fought against racial profiling, especially stop and frisk, and now shop and frisk, and he's doing a lot there with that. He's been active in demonstrations in supporting Trayvon Martin's family, has spoken out against the misapplication of the Stand Your Ground laws. Eric and I can tell you, we're not great friends by any means because we run into each other every, here and there. As soon as he becomes Brooklyn Borough President, I will get a dinner invitation, I hope. But we have spent some time together talking in passing. And so I want to, as the person introducing you, being a psychologist, want to give my psychological analysis of Eric. Are you ready for this? Okay, so I can tell you that despite his incredible charisma, strength, focus, intelligence, and yes, he does work out still, he remains a very humble public servant who is not partisan. He reaches across the aisle, which is amazing given that the Tea Party members, I'd love to reach out across the aisle and smack him in the back of the head. But he has done that very, very well in reaching out to people. He represents all Brooklynites, regardless of sex, color, religion, ethnicity, has many, many friends in the community, and you could see that in this audience and audiences that are multicultural, and I think that's an amazing thing and what we need for this really incredible city and this really wonderful country. I love the United States of America. I have to tell you, I always have, always will. That's why they call me America's psychologist, and I wear that proudly. Tomorrow for Halloween, I'm wearing my Captain America leather jacket. Wait till you see it. I've also analyzed that Eric, okay, we talk about speaking truth to power, right? He does have a bit of an addictive personality. He's addicted to truth. He's addicted to justice. He's addicted to equality. And he's addicted to work, 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 and more work. You must be West Indian because I know you've had about 20 jobs. So it's not surprising that he wants to take on an even more consuming and bigger challenge in helping and assisting the entire populace of Brooklyn. And in light of that distinction, let me introduce our next Brooklyn Borough President, the Honorable Senator Eric Adams.
First, I want to thank the Cooper family. Andrew, Mr. Cooper was a very dear friend, and I sought his guidance often during my time in the police department, both with the Guardians and the formation of 100 Blacks in law enforcement who care. Brooklyn, symbol of its greatness, is the Brooklyn Bridge that was completed in 1883. And it was a magnificent feat that took place of spanning the gap of the East River, waters that were often difficult to navigate. Nowadays, the challenge is not navigating the East River. It's navigating the gap between information and the people who are in need of it. So young journalists must become the modern-day Marvel builders of building the forms of communication that allow the powerful truth to fall on the ears of those who really need it. There's a lack of journalistic integrity in this country, where corporate greed no longer are fulfilling people's needs. And journalism have a way of exposing that. And so I'm hoping those who go through this program that is named after the great Andrew Cooper, they will do so with an obligation and a responsibility to put their information and the truth and continue the perpetuation of speaking truth to power. We need new bridges, the same timid response that individuals had when they placed their feet for the first time on the Brooklyn Bridge. The thought of walking across a river as great as the East River must have been awesome and intimidating. Now the intimidation is also faced with young people who have to walk in schools, in buildings, in corporate buildings, in Borough Hall, unfriendly environments. It is fearful and intimidating. By writing, by being a journalist, either speaking over radio or television or writing for a particular major daily or creating your own paper, you will feed people with what they need and give them the empowerment that they need, that they too can say that they can do great things. So don't only merely want to be part of some corporate structure or sit in front of some of the major papers. Redefine and define your own. Be as great as the founder of the Brooklyn Bridge. Stretch across those spans that have not previously been crossed. Let's show that we can close the gap between those who have and those who have not. Don't be the great that Brooklyn has to offer. Be the great that Belgium and Budapest and the globe has to offer. I still challenge Galileo in 1615 when he said Earth was the center of the universe. He's wrong, baby. Brooklyn is the center of the universe.
Let me just close out with this. I have a quote that I believe speaks truth to power from my favorite author, Dr. Seuss. Always do what you want and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Love you all. Thank you.